Hey Jason, this is the problem you sent to me. Oh, by the way, I'm sick, so hopefully I don't sound too bad, but I'm going to try. This question is about discussing the validity of a given argument. By the way, when the argument is given on the test, and you are not going to expect any of these hints or cues, and you should be able to just work off any given arguments and it carries through the whole discussion, the process. So therefore, we treat this as an independent with no other cues. The first thing we do, we are going to symbolize this argument. You need to symbolize premises and the conclusion. The first premise reads as either I did not study or I passed the exam. We're going to use the letter assigned here to rewrite or to symbolize each statement. Either I did not study or I passed the exam. It's going to be a disjunction between two statements. I did not study as the negation of a P. I passed the exam as a Q. The second premise is that I did not study. So that's going to be the negation of P. These are the premises. Therefore, this is 3 dots reads as therefore. I failed the exam is as I did not pass the exam. So that's going to be negation Q. So far I symbolized my arguments. And the next step, we are going to use a statement to represent this argument. To write the statement, we always put premises together with a conjunction. You always do that. Okay, you always use a conjunction, no other connective. And these two premises are going to work together to imply conclusion. So it's always conditional, imply the conclusion. And this is how we write a statement to represent the argument. We are going to put premises together, and this is my premise 1 with conjunction of premise 2. Together implies conclusion. And this double line arrow works the same as a single line conditional. They really share the same functionality. The reason we use a double line is to just draw attention. This conditional statement is to discuss the validity of arguments. And the next thing we do is we do need to be clear about order of operation, what we're going to do first and what we're going to do last. And I hope what's clear at the beginning is what we're going to do last should be clear. And we are going to do this last. This should be taken care of at the very end. This reads as if this, then that. So that's your dominant connective. So that means I need to take care of either side first. For instance, if I get into the brackets, within the brackets, it reads as the conjunction between these two statements. Then you need to find the choose value of each, and then we put together with conjunction. So that narrowed down to the next step. I really need to find the choose value of within the parentheses, the choose value within the parentheses. If I follow just from left to right, I think this is how I'm going to set up my steps. The first step, I'm going to find negation P, the choose value of negation P. Then I'm going to copy Q so that I can put them together with step 3 with a disjunction to finish the choose value of the first set of parentheses. And step 3 actually will be the choose value of the first entire set of parentheses or first premise. And then we're going to move on to the next step, which will be negation P. That's the choose value of the second premise. And then we can put 3 and 4 together with conjunction. So at this point, step 5 is really the conjunction of premises. And step 5 is also the choose value of the entire left of the conditional. And then we move to the right, and I will find the choose value of negation Q. That's my 6th step. And now I put 5 and the Q together with 7, which is a conditional, and to finish my entire choose table. So let's try to follow our steps to construct our choose table. Let's put this a little bit, make some room. Okay, to set our choose table, And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to write down my reference columns with P and a Q. To write the 4 cases, the easiest way to do, just write 2 trues, 2 false under P, and the true false alternate under Q. And then follow the circles above. The first step, we're going to find negation P, copy Q, and then it's going to be the disjunction, negation P, and the Q. Do I have to copy Q? Well, it's easier when you bring them closer to the action. Not necessary, but just try to minimize those kind of what we call stupid mistakes. So we're at step 3. And step 4, I need to copy negation. I need to find negation P so that I can put my premises together with conjunction. So that's going to be the conjunction between my premises. And now we're moving to the right. I'm going to copy negation Q. Once I have a negation Q, it's about putting these 2 columns together with a conditional. So since I'm a little pressed in space, I think I will use this notation for the entire statement. Okay, for the entire statement. Okay, let's try to work this out. The first, we need to find negation P. Negation P, we just look at P column, find the opposite truth value. P is given as true, true, false, false. Negation P must be false, false, true, true. That's the first column. The second, let's move this up a little bit. The second, I have a Q, and a Q basically we just copy Q column, and Q is given as a true, false, so therefore it's going to be true, false, true, false. That's my second step. Now, next step, I need to put the previous 2 columns together with a disjunction. So disjunction, we need to recall how disjunction works. Disjunction stated unless they're both false, the rest will be true. Unless they're both false means this is false, this is also false. So therefore, the disjunction between these 2 statements is going to be false. That's just a way we remember disjunction. One good thing to do, each column within the table, this is called within the table, is used only once. Once they're used, they're useless. So you can actually line through them just to minimize the distraction. So how did I find column 3? I used the column 1 and the column 2. So kind of line through them. And the next, I need to find negation P, well, which we did. Column 4, I just write false, false, true, true. And this is my step 4. What do you do next? And that's going to be the 5th step. That's about putting 3 and 4 together. At this moment, there are only 2 columns left. Hopefully, you're not going to make a mistake since I lined through 1 and 2. I'm going to put these 2 columns together, 3 and 4, with conjunction. Conjunction stated, unless they're both true, the rest will be false. And that's how I find column 5. So again, how did you find column 5? I used 3 and 4. So there goes 3, there goes 4. And next step, I need to find negation Q, which is the opposite of Q. Q is given as true, false, true, false. Negation Q is going to be false, true, false, true. That's my 6th column. And I'm coming up to the 7th column. Is about combining both sides of the conditional. To the left, I have a column 5. To the right, I have a column 6. So put these 2 together with conditional. Conditional stated if they have same truth value, it's going to be true. Same truth value means on each side of the conditional, they have the same truth value. Then it's going to be true. When they have different truth value, say to the left you have false, to the right you have true, then it's going to be true. When they have different truth value, to the left is true, to the right is false, it's going to be false. And this is going to be your solution column. And based on the solution column, you need to answer the question or draw a conclusion. This indicates the given argument is invalid to complete the question. And looking through your work, your problem is really to understand or better understand conditional statement. When P and Q is given, how to find the choose value of if P then Q. So again, you write true, false under P, true, false under Q. This is how we remember conditional statement. There are different ways you remember, but it would be really good if you find a way to explain the functionality of a conditional rather than memorize it as a true, false, true, true. So this is how we are going to remember. Earlier, I suggested if they have the same choose values, it's going to be true. When they have different choose values, say P is true, Q is false, the statement follow the one to the right. So this is going to be false. When P is false, Q is true, the statement follow the one to the right. So it's going to be true. And that's one way you can remember. Other way you can remember, we also have students, I think in the video he suggested too. Look at this column. 3 out of 4 as true. So I will say the conditional statement is going to be true unless when P is true, Q is false. Or you really should remember on either side of the conditional, when you have a true as first, false as a second, then the statement is going to be false. Because when you use a conditional, not necessarily you have P and a Q on either side. You have some expression on either side of the conditional, like we did in the previous arguments. Then how would you remember? How would you justify? You need to remember on either side of the conditional, either this notation or that notation. What if this is a true, this is a false? Then my statement is going to be false because it is false. So what if on either side of my conditional, I have this as a false, this is a true. What about my statement? My statement is going to be true because it follows the one to the right when they have a different choose value. When they have the same choose value, it's going to be true. That's an easier part to remember. And I hope this helps you to understand the conditional statement, which is the hardest statement we will have to memorize. Okay, get back to me if you still have questions.